Welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. This is another Sunday update video. I also post silent build videos on most Wednesdays and Fridays, so be sure to check those out as well. Today we're going to talk about the 356, the Beetle, and the Model T. Okay, so for the 356. So if you saw my last build video on this, you would have seen that I got the windshield in and the rear window in. It went pretty good, especially considering I did it by myself. The rear window, I always knew would fit well. You know, the shape of the opening was very close to the original. It was tight to get it in. I had to jack up the roof a little bit more to make it fit. But it fit well, and it sealed all the way around as it should. So that came out really good. The windshield, I always knew was going to be a little bit of an issue, and it's also a lot easier to break. So it did go in well. There's an issue with this side of the car. And the issue is this portion needs to kind of go out. And actually, I think what actually needs to happen is this section needs to come down. You can see it doesn't match the door very well. So this area needs to be pulled in. But I really couldn't do that in any way without, you know, taking the car farther apart. I mean, obviously, to do a proper restoration, you would cut the top off of this, you would realign all the panels, you would cut this damaged area off, you would realign everything, weld it back in correctly. Hey, look who it is, Walter. What's up, buddy? Walter, good to see you. Good timing, buddy. Good timing. Yeah, so if this car ever gets a proper restoration in its future, which is a good chance that eventually it will, because the value is going to continue to go up on these things, you know, these two things will need to be cut off and straightened out and put back together correctly. Now, obviously, this is still very damaged, and I plan on driving it as a damaged car, as a wrecked car. So the windshield did fit well. It wasn't perfect. There was a little bit of a gap here, which I ended up using some silicone on later. And there's a little section, it's kind of hard to see, but kind of the rubber doesn't fully go over the edge there because this is pushed down a little bit. But again, I mean, it's sealed. The windshield is solid. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to come out of the car. So overall, I'm really happy with it. And I didn't expect the windshield to go in, you know, perfectly because of the damage to the roof. Same thing over here. This side sealed well on the inside, but there was a little bit of a gap here because this shape isn't perfect, and so I put a little bit of silicone there, and then same thing down here. But really, it came out very well. I'm very happy with how it came out. So since that video, I've made some more progress. I've got the windshield wipers on. I've got some of the interior back in it. So I've got the rear panel in. I've got the rear seats in. I'm working now on fitting the trim here. I've got the rear view mirror and the visors in. I also have these little lights, the dome lights and hooks that go next to them. So it's all looking pretty good in there. The seals, I bought a kit that comes with basically seals for pretty much the entire car. And like a lot of these kits with aftermarket seals, they're not perfect. This seal is too long by quite a ways. I mean, you can see how much extra there is here. And if you try to force it on, then it kind of starts to buckle in places and not lay flat. So I'm going to have to do some work on the seals. I did get some glue that I think I'm going to be able to use to glue these back together. So I'm going to have to cut them here at their original connection points and kind of trim it and make sure everything fits and glue it in. But so I'm kind of test fitting the seals here. So the next step for this is, I haven't decided yet, but it's either going to be putting in the side windows and the door frames and the door windows and getting that all together, or it's going to be kind of finishing up the interior. For the interior, I have to cover the seats, do the floors, and then the dash, clean up the dash, and then put in the tack and the stereo, and clean up the steering wheel. So it's going to be one of those two, either interior or windows, but both of those will be happening pretty quickly. So that's pretty much where we're at with the 356. The Beetle, real quick, I mentioned before, the ball joints were bad, the upper ball joints. I did replace those. I took those upper control arms off, and had the new ball joints pressed into them, put them back on. So that's good. And then I adjusted the toe in and the camber and got all that set. It still has the grinding sound when you turn left, which I pretty much knew it would. So I still have to go through the brakes and figure that out. I also have a few things to finish up in the trunk. I need to finish up some wiring issues and then put the trim piece around the trunk. And then I have some pieces to go inside, like a cover that goes over the wiring in the trunk. So a few little things left to do on that. I don't think I'm going to do a video on that because I'm just kind of doing it a little bit here and there when I have time. But I do plan on doing a driving video as soon as I get that stuff finished up. So that'll be the next video on the Beetle, and it'll likely be pretty soon. Okay, so we'll talk about the Model T. So if you saw my last video on the Model T, you would have seen that I got the engine back in the car. I also cleaned up the front suspension and got it back on the car. So I'm still I'm waiting on a few things, and I'm trying to find a few things. So the bolts, there's a cap that goes over this, and there's 2 bolts that go on there, and I can't find those 2 bolts. I'm pretty sure I have them somewhere, but I have to find those. I also ordered some more bolts, so you can see, like here, the U-joint here where the rear end bolts onto the transmission. I've ordered some bolts for that. The ones that were there, I don't believe were actually the correct ones, but regardless, so I've got some of those coming. But so my original plan, like I said in the past, was to get the engine in it in this last video, and then the following video would be it running. I don't think it's going to be running quite that soon, because I didn't really, at the time, I didn't think about how important it is to have the steering column in, because the steering column has the controls for the timing and the throttle. So without those, it can be kind of hard, I think, to get it to keep running. And so that means I need to clean up the steering column. I've got it here, and put that back in. But before I put that in, I really need to clean up the dash at the same time. So, and then there's also still a lot of stuff. I mean, you can see I didn't get as far as I expected with the install. I thought I'd have the radiator back on and all that stuff. But so I've got to sort out the missing hardware, get all that back together, get all the electrical stuff hooked up, clean the dash, clean the steering column, get that back in. So I'm expecting to basically do the dash and all the prep work to get it to run in the next video, and then hopefully the video after that it'll actually be running. But so either way, we are making really good progress. I'm happy with the way that it's coming out. So basically that's it for the Model T. I do plan on getting started on the or getting back to the Land Cruiser soon, but it's gonna be, well, I don't know if it'll be after the 356. We'll see. But anyway, the Beetle will be moving soon, and then the body for the Land Cruiser will come back in, and then I will continue to work on that as well. So I haven't forgot about that. It will be coming up soon. But so that's pretty much it then, I think, for this week. Thanks for watching, guys, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing.